all hope was lost. In our lives, in the lives of the nation, we have those Saturdays to bear witness. The day before glory, all hope was lost.
Hey, everybody, and welcome back to Speechless. I'm your host, Kev Ferris, 23-year-old conservative activist, host of Speechless, the radio show. But I also bring you guys this great content here wherever you're watching from on YouTube, Twitch, Twitter, Rumble, all of that stuff. I might even Facebook as well. I'm sure I have some people watching on Facebook too. So make sure, no matter where you're watching from, you check out Speechless with Kev and Breakaway USA everywhere. Don't forget to like this video, subscribe to the channel, comment. This is a live show, everybody. I can't do what I do without you, so comment what you think, because then we'll bring you in on the conversation. And don't forget to share this with your friends, too. Post the link to Facebook, post it to Twitter, reshare it if you're on Twitter right now, or X, whatever they want to call it, all that stuff. So please, please, please do that. But let's get right on into it. Some students today, Sunday, who attended their graduation ceremony at Morehouse College, one of the country's HBCUs, historically black college and university, turned their back on President Joe Biden as he delivered a commencement address. Now, commencement addresses have all been in the news in the last week or so, and we're going to cover all of those today, including Harrison Butker's. So do not go anywhere to make sure we don't miss a minute of that. But yes, President Joe Biden gave this speech at a historically black college and university, and some of the things that he said were absolutely insane, not only flat out lies, but also some of which was just flat out racist. So, like I said, we're gonna cover all that. But the first thing to note is that many of the students at this college called for a ceasefire in Gaza, also had their backs turned to President Joe Biden as he was talking. And the Associated Press reported that at least 7 graduates and a faculty member sat with their backs turned as Biden spoke. A group of students even walked out as Biden received an honorary degree, according to the New York Times. We can see right here, which is the video I played at the very beginning of the show today. This is exactly what some of these graduates did during the ceremony as Biden talked. So take a look at this.
All hope was lost. In our lives, in the lives of the nation, we have those Saturdays to bear witness. The day before glory, all hope was lost.
So you could see very quietly, but in some way respectively, this graduate is turning his back in defiance to the president of the United States. And honestly, it's notable, not for the reason because this shows people going towards or just being against Biden. It also shows what's going to happen in 2024. Now, what happened in 2020 was that people voted for Biden against Trump. Now, we can talk about election integrity and all that stuff. I don't want to get banned on YouTube today, but we can talk simply, without getting banned, about how people voted against Trump. And that is what boosted some of Biden's numbers, is the fact that people were voting against Trump. Now, I'm not going to sit here and claim that some of these ceasefire, pro-Hamas, terrorist sympathizing people are going to go for Trump, but not voting for Joe Biden is in some way, somebody who voted for Joe Biden last time who is not voting for him this time is in some way a vote for Trump. At least in the fact that it will be one less vote for Biden and potentially maybe one more vote for Trump if it is truly a protest vote. That will only be totally known on election day, but it is interesting to note how so many African-American voters are turning against Biden, and some of which are going towards Trump. Trump is basically up in the polls with every minority group that he was that he lost in 2020 and 2016. More and more are going towards Trump. And it's because they no longer believe this media crap that Republicans and Trump are racist. In fact, they're starting to even see some of the things that Biden is doing that's racist. And at least some of the graduates at the Georgia school appeared to be demonstrating in response to the Israel-Hamas war in the Gaza Strip, as some of them were seen wearing a Palestinian flag or keffiyeh scarves around their shoulders or necks, which is exactly what this guy was doing. And as I mentioned, many of them were protesting Gaza. and Israel and the Hamas war and everything. And so then you get things like this, where Joe Biden out of nowhere is just being Joe Biden while a student is calling for a ceasefire. You go, ceasefire now, and take a look and a listen right here as to what Joe Biden was doing when one of the students was calling for a ceasefire. It's insane. Watch this.
Man, nay, as a human being, to call for an immediate and a permanent ceasefire in the Gaza Strip.
What is that face he's making? What is going on here? Let me make it full screen for you guys, and I'll even take off my banner here. Don't forget to comment, guys. What do you guys think about this? What is Biden doing here? It's absolutely insane. Watch this from the beginning. Watch Biden and what he's doing as this graduate is calling for a ceasefire.
Man, nay, as a human being, to call for an immediate and a permanent ceasefire in the Gaza Strip. As a Morehouse man.
See, so this is the thing, is many people write this off as this is an old man being an old man, but this is the president of the United States, everybody, and this is the way he is acting at his commencement address that is trying to pander, to the African American community, as he's currently losing them by all verifiable metrics. So that's what's going on with Biden there. But then you also, at least while he's watching the other people, but then when he got pumped full of steroids, allegedly, I have to say allegedly, he gets pumped full of steroids. Then all of a sudden, then he's up here, and then he still just, while he is able to form coherent sentences, he says some of the dumbest things I have ever heard, and probably some of the dumbest things you have ever heard. Not only dumb, but also just blatantly racist. Yes, Joe Biden at this historically black college and university was just racist by telling all these black graduates, these people that just completed a college education, whether that's their master's degree or their undergraduate degree, whatever, they just completed a prestigious higher level academic achievement. And Biden tells them all that they're oppressed, that no matter what you're achieving, you're still black in America. That's what he says, at least from the Democrat perspective. Take a look and a listen here.
Today, you missed your high school graduation. You started college just as George Floyd was murdered. And
also, by the way, George Floyd was not murdered. George Floyd overdosed.
There was a reckoning on race. It's natural to wonder if democracy you hear about actually works for you. What is democracy? If black men are being killed in the street, what is democracy? The trail of broken promises still leave black communities behind.
Look, so he's totally just spewing absolute crap right here. I mean, he's at best, he's saying things out of context. Because if you want to talk about the most black men that die in the streets, you should talk about the fact that in cities like Chicago, all of our major cities, but cities especially like Chicago, which is very near and dear to me, black men are killing each other in the streets. But, no. Joe Biden doesn't want to talk about that. Joe Biden wants to keep this idea that they're all just oppressed individuals, that they couldn't do anything that they wanted to, that because of their race anyways. It's just like Governor Kathy Hochul, who says that black children in the Bronx don't even know what a computer is. Democrats are the racists, at least in some way. Now, I don't necessarily think every Democrat out there is like, oh yes, I just hate minorities. No. They go out, they're racist in the idea that they believe that they're in some way this white savior, that they're not even white, just that they're the savior. That no, don't worry. It's the soft bigotry of low expectations. And that's what Biden is exhibiting here.
What is democracy? You have to be 10 times better than anyone else to get a fair shot. Most of all, what does it mean? As we've heard before, to be a black man who loves his country, even if it doesn't love him back in equal measure.
If this country doesn't love you back because of your race, well, you're currently the president right now, Joe. So if you think that that's such a problem, then wouldn't you be in some way promoting that? Isn't it in some way your fault? It's not a problem, but if it were to be a problem, wouldn't it be in some way your fault? But I digress. No, Joe Biden is no stranger to racism. This isn't even something I was going to play, but I have time today, so I guess we'll go into it a little bit more. Joe Biden is no stranger to racism. And many of you guys who watch this show are of course, well versed in in the racism of our commander in chief. But just to remind you, we're not going to play this whole thing. But there's a 7.5-minute video that you can easily find, that anybody can easily find, that shows exactly how racist Joe Biden is. Take a look and listen. We're going to watch a little bit of this.
You have a problem figuring out whether you're for me or Trump, and you ain't black. Poor kids are just as bright and just as talented as white kids.
When you got the first sort of mainstream African American who was articulate and bright and clean, nice-looking guy.
Biden recalling his early Senate career, bringing up two segregationist senators, Herman Talmadge and James Eastland, who called African Americans an inferior race. I was in a caucus with James O. Eastland, Biden said. He never called me boy. He always called me son. At least there was some civility. We got things done.
The senators that he is speaking of with such adoration are individuals who made and built their reputation on segregation. The Ku Klux Klan celebrated the election of one of them.
Using the word boy in the way he did can cause hurt and pain, and we need a presidential nominee and the leader of our party to be sensitive to that.
My Democratic colleagues don't like me saying this. I think the two-party system is good for the South and good for the Negro, good for the black. Other than the fact that they still call me boy, I think they've changed their mind a little bit.
As also noted, Robert C. Byrd was a parliamentary library, a keeper of the institution of the Senate, and he was the institution itself. For a lot of us, he was a friend, he was a mentor, and he was a guy.
1987, he bragged about getting an award from George Wallace.
Biden bragged about an award from the notorious segregationist Governor George Wallace and told the Philadelphia Inquirer, "I think the Democratic Party could stand a liberal George Wallace, someone who's not afraid to stand up and offend people."
You cannot go to a 7-Eleven or a Dunkin' Donuts unless you have a slight Indian accent.
I think that's probably my favorite one there. You cannot go to a 7-Eleven or a Dunkin' Donuts without a slight Indian accent. And this is the guy that Democrats claim should be not only their nominee. I mean, he's the current president of the United States. He's also the presumptive nominee for the Democrat Party come 2024. And he's currently speaking he just earlier today spoke at a historically black college university, said that, oh, no, don't worry, all you college graduates, you're still oppressed. Yeah, that's the guy. That's the guy that the Democrats, the party of inclusion, the party of tolerance, the party of, oh my God, everybody's so racist except for me. That's the party that put this guy up. It's just like, I know this is something that many of us know. That if you're watching this show, it's something that I cover on here. It's something that we've known since before Joe Biden was ever elected. Something we've known. But there are so many people out there, so many people that do not realize this, that because they have CNN on in the background, they're not necessarily ardently liberal people. They're not pink haired with a crap ton of tattoos and piercings and promiscuous to the bone. No. There are like normal, average people out there that just hear the little bit that they get from CNN, MSNBC, all that stuff, and they think that Joe Biden is the defender against racism and that he's the guy, It's crazy. But he even panders further to the crowd in this clip from his graduation speech at Morehouse. Here's this.
I got more Morehouse men in the White House telling me what to do than I know what to do. You all think I'm kidding, don't you? You know I'm not.
I was also confused by what he just said, but in case you're wondering what he said is I got more Morehouse men in the White House telling me what to do than I know what to do. That might not totally make sense to you because it's bumbled jargon from an old man like babbling. But what I will tell you is what it really is trying to say is that he's saying that he has a bunch of Morehouse men working for him, that he has Morehouse college graduates working for him. However, the facts of the matter would actually show us differently. The facts of the matter would show us that actually no Morehouse college graduates have ever worked directly within Biden's White House and within his administration. The last Morehouse grad that worked anywhere near him was Jamal Simmons, who's the former communications director for Kamala Harris. So he's even lying to these students, saying that he's got all these Morehouse graduates working for him, which is insane. But speaking of Kamala Harris, Biden did make a reference to her during this speech. And what is, I think, one of the most interesting parts of this speech, that even kind of gives a little bit of a insight into how Democrats see their future. Hint, it's just as unpopular as it currently is. Take a look at this right here.
I've been vice president to the first black president and become my close friend, and president to the first woman vice president. Well, I have no idea.
I want to replay that right there. Okay, because he said, I've been vice president. And I don't know if he said specifically, but what he was saying is he was saying, I've been vice president to the first black president. And he's also saying, I've been president to the first black woman vice president. And I think it's funny because he's here right now at an HBCU, historically black college and university. And he's already pandered saying, I've got all these Morehouse grads working for me. He's already told them how oppressed they all are. And now he's pulling out like the thing that every single one of the leftists get so mad about when they talk about anti-racism is he's literally coming out and basically saying, look at all my black friends that I've worked with. That's basically what he's saying. Take a look and listen one more time, and then we'll play through this whole video.
I've been vice president to the first black president and become my close friend, and president to the first woman vice president. Well, I have no idea, no doubt, the Morehouse man will be president one day, just after an AKA from Howard.
Kamala Harris went to Howard.
She's tough, guys. Look, let me close with this.
You got to be tough if you're that unpopular as the vice president.
I know I don't look like I've been around very long. But in my career, for the first 30 years, I was told, you're too young, kid. It used to stop me from getting on the Senate elevator when I first got there, for real. Now, I'm too old. Whether you're young or old,
I will agree with him. He is too old.
I know it endures. The strength and wisdom of faith endures. And my hope for you is, my challenge to you is, you still keep the faith so long as you can. That cap on your head proves you've earned your crown. The question is now, 25 years from now, 50 years from now, when you're asked to stand and address the next generation of Morehouse men, what will you say you did with that power you've earned?
So if you heard, like I wanted to hear what he said at the end of that because I only really listened to like this part.
After an AKA from Howard.
The AKA from Howard. Many are claiming that this is a slight implied endorsement for Kamala Harris come 2028, and that's what many are assuming that's kind of what it's saying is that he is in some way endorsing. See, the thing is that I didn't even see it necessarily as an endorsement. Many said, oh, this is him endorsing Kamala for 2028. But the way I see it is that this is simply Biden saying that Kamala is what they see as their 2028 runner. That's who's going to be the nominee in 2028. And I don't necessarily think that he has a bad point in that. Like, that would seem to be what the Democrats are setting up. Now, the difficulty I have with that is the political, like, suicide that kind of is. Kamala Harris was one of the most unpopular presidential candidates back in 2016 when she ran her own campaign. She's historically one of the most unpopular vice presidents in American history, if not the most unpopular vice president in American history, serving under one of the most unpopular American presidents in American history. So it doesn't make sense that you would want to keep her there. But the thing is that what I could see is the Democrats have emboldened this DEI entitlement so much that it doesn't even matter whether or not the Democrats want her. They're kind of stuck with her because they've said, oh, well, you check all the boxes. The only thing that could make it better is if you were gay, and she's not, but she checks enough in fact that she's a woman and she's black, and so it doesn't even matter that she's a hypocrite, a liar, bad with policy, bad with people. Like, that's the thing is, I'll even admit Obama was good with people, so like he could at least sell himself as that he was good. Kamala's awkward and unlikable. She's if Hillary Clinton was a black woman, so. And had also been one of the biggest, I mean, Hillary Clinton is a hypocrite, but yeah, she's Hillary Clinton if Hillary Clinton was a black woman. So that's the thing is sure, endorse Kamala, set her up for 2028, but it's not a good idea. But that's what Biden said today at his commencement address at Morehouse. At the HBCU, as he was trying to pander to black voters, as he's been consistently losing them recently. So good for him, I guess. I mean, that's our president, everybody. A bumbling fool and mildly racist, despite being hailed as the fighter of anti-racism. Crazy. That's what Democrats are, though, guys. Absolute hypocrites. 100%. I'm going to get to some comments here soon. Make sure you guys like this video, subscribe to the channel, comment what you think, share it with your friends, all that fun stuff. We will be right back after this message from my sponsor. Yes, that's Freedom 2.0, everybody. Of course, I always drink. You might see me drinking out of another little thing here. Yeah, I like to have something sweet while I do my show, but I also do love Freedom 2.0, and so I do have some of their water throughout my show, and you can see that it says great things on the side of it. Freedom to speak, freedom to drink. Actually, if you guys go to freedom20.com and use code BREAKAWAY or code USA, code BREAKAWAY at checkout, you will get 15% off. So go to freedom20.com, get 15% off. Do that today. It'll be a lot of fun. And make sure you guys stick with me through this show because I will be covering the Harrison Butker commencement ceremony as well. But I want to talk a little bit about Trump because we're talking about 2028, right? And so that's what Joe Biden was talking about when he implicated an endorsement for Kamala Harris. But I want to talk about Trump because if we talked about Biden, I want to give an update as to what the heck is going on with Trump. Well, Trump has made a lot of headlines in the last few days, as he always does. And he actually had a rally in Minnesota. It was quite interesting. He had a rally in Minnesota, which is interesting because it's been leaning blue, maybe you could argue kind of purple for a state. But he's been announcing, I mean, he even announced that he's going to have a rally in the Bronx. Like, there is a chance Donald Trump could take a lot of blue areas and turn them red. I mean, he could take AOC's district and turn it red. It is possible. It is possible. Now, is it what he should focus on and focus all of his time on? No. But to hold the rally there, interesting. But I digress. He's got this rally in Minnesota, and it's just after he's got these debates announced. There's a lot going on with these debates. I mean, there's all these different rules that Joe Biden has put on it. He's got his eyes set on the debate stage. Trump does. He has for a while. There's been a lot of talk, and we're gonna continue to talk about the debate, and it's upcoming. We'll probably do it live here on Speechless, on Breakaway, everywhere. So make sure you like, subscribe, share, comment, all that fun stuff. There's even talk about RFK's potential involvement. Stay tuned. I think we're going to talk about that tomorrow on the Breakaway USA show on Monday nights. But former President Donald Trump said on Friday that he will have a special request for Joe Biden before the two candidates meet on stage next month for the first of two scheduled debates. Trump spoke to a crowd of supporters at a Republican fundraiser in St. Paul, Minnesota, Friday night and discussed his upcoming debate with Biden after the two candidates agreed to face off on June 27th and September 10th. And here's the thing that I think is funny is so June 27th is really early for a debate. You guys might not remember, depending on how much you follow politics, but June 27th is really early for a debate. If you think about it, by that point, neither of them will technically actually be the nominees for their party as their national conventions. I don't know the dates of the RNC, but I do know the DNC is in mid to late August. So they technically won't even be the nominees of their party yet, and they're already going to be debating as presidential candidates. So that's just interesting in and of itself. As I've heard somebody say, they're not getting any younger. So I guess they should probably do it sooner than later. But there's been a lot of talk about what's going on with these debates. And this is the request that Donald Trump has for Joe Biden. Joe Biden has a lot of different requests as to RFK can't be involved. He's got to have all these different things. Trump's got to make sure he follows COVID guidelines, blah, 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 blah. A lot of stupid crap. But take a look and a listen at what Donald Trump requested of Joe Biden before their next debate.
No, I have fake tappers. They said, I just want to debate this guy, but and I'm gonna demand a drug test too. By the way, I am. No, I really am. I don't want him coming in like the State of the Union. He was high as a kite. I said, "Is that Joe up there? A beautiful row." And by the end of the evening, he's like, well, it was exhausted, right? Now we're going to demand a drug test. But no,
we're going to demand a drug test. And I think that's an absolutely reasonable demand. Look, Trump talks a little bit about it. We all know it. If you watch the State of the Union this year, it looked like Joe Biden somehow had been resurrected from the fountain of youth, or at least he jumped in it real quick right before. And then he had like a good 45 minutes of excitement. And then if 45 minutes, and then by the end of it was back to bumbling old fool Joe Biden. Must have just been a temporary thing, which is why many believe that maybe he's being hopped up on steroids. And to some extent, if it's all legal, I don't totally blame him, but the American people should know. Just as much as, look, I guarantee you there's Democrats out there that would watch this and Donald Trump saying, I demand a drug test. It would be like, I demand one of Trump too. He's probably on cocaine, blah, 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 blah. Sure. Maybe we should be drugged. If there was cocaine found in the White House, if there's been cocaine found in our congressional chambers, if there's been cocaine found, if there's been drugs, illicit drugs found all over our government buildings, the people's house, our own, what we pay for as taxpayers, then yes, our elected officials should submit to a drug test. You want to know why? And this is something I'm getting really mad about, but I think it's very reasonable that I'm mad about this. If you have to get drug tested because you might seem high while working as a Walmart greeter, or at your being a local grocery store clerk of some kind, if it's in your contract that you could have to submit to a drug test, then I think all of our politicians, all of them should be mandated to submit to a drug test. All of them, every single one of our politicians should have to submit to a drug test. Because they are taxpayer funded. I guarantee you it's somewhere in some contract or something that said they might have to be. No. I want all of them to be forced to submit to a drug test. And if it comes back positive, it needs to be publicly released. We deserve that. For them to be elected officials under taxpayer salary. Donald Trump technically is a private citizen right now. If you were to call on him to get drug tested, he would have a better argument as to why he shouldn't be. But that said, I think all of them should be drug tested. Why not? Why the heck not? We should be willing to know. And even if it comes back positive, we don't even need to mandate any necessary punishment. We should punish them ourselves for not electing a druggie or not electing somebody who can't get a speech without some level of a steroid in his body. These should be public knowledge. If you are operating as an elected official on a taxpayer salary with some level of a stimulant in you, even if that's caffeine, I guarantee you all of them have caffeine, which is fine. Not really my problem, but to some extent, every mind-altering stimulant should be disclosed to the public if you're under a taxpayer salary. If I ever get elected to office, I promise you right here, if I ever get elected to office and it is required of me a drug test, I will take one. I promise you that. And I'll promise you that now. But that's Trump, and that's his demand for Biden. And I know that was kind of a long rant, but that's his demand for Biden to take the debate stage, and I think Biden absolutely should. But do I think Biden will? Highly likely not. I will be surprised. I will be very surprised if Biden actually does come out with a drug test taken. I will. I know that was kind of a short segment. I have a huge one coming up soon. We're going to be talking about Harrison Butker giving a speech at Benedictine. It's been making its rounds, and a lot of people are saying a lot of things about it. But there's been good and bad that's come out of it. I want to check on comments. See, comment section, not as big today. I do see Andrea out there. I hope you're going to play the cat fight between the three attention whores in Congress. Tomorrow. We're going to talk about that tomorrow on the Breakaway USA show. I don't have it for my show today. I'm sorry, Andrea. I'm sorry. Maybe I will. You know what, Andrea? If I get any level of a super chat from anybody today, I will pull it up. I will pull up the link for it, and I will react to it. I don't have the full story. I didn't prep it. I didn't prep the full story for today, but I will react to it today if I get any level of a super chat from anybody. Okay? On YouTube. Then I will. Or if you want to also hit up, this would honestly be what I would like more, is if anybody hits up my Cash App Venmo of any amount, I will react. I will find that cat fight at the end of the show, and I will react to it and talk about it a little bit. Because I did see a little bit about it. I could make the story, but I will tell you I don't have it prepped. So if anybody wants to Venmo Cash at me, I will talk about the cat fight between that African-American black Congresswoman, Democrat, and Marjorie Taylor Greene. I will cover that. Any level of a contribution to the show, then I will talk about it and I will react to it. But I have a lot of other stuff prepped. Keep those. Thank you very much for the compliment as well, Andrea. But keep the comments coming, everybody. As we get into some other stories here, let's see. Play the buffoons. Let's go. Thank you, Andrea. Thank you. Okay. End of the show, though, because I have to get through other stuff first before. But I will stay extra and cover that story a little bit. Okay. End of the show. I will get to that because I have Harrison Butker. I have TikTok reactions. I have a lot of crap. Also, everybody, I have something I'd really like to say to you, but I need to make sure I can get some of this stuff pulled up for my next segment. Thank you, Andrea. I will keep that up there as we go into this next segment. But I got to get it all pulled up. So please take a look and a listen at a little bit more from Freedom 2.0. Use code BREAKAWAY at checkout for 15% off the water that won't make you gay. No fluoride in it. So take a look and listen to this.
Blah, 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 blah. What are you talking about? Here, have some Freedom 2.0. Man, the Constitution is awesome. That's what it is.
That's Freedom 2.0, as of course you guys have heard me talk about it. Woke tears, water, kind of. And freedom to speak, freedom to drink. They got all these catchy slogans on them. Use code BREAKAWAY at checkout for 15% off on freedom20.com. They even have an Amazon store now, too. So if you want to get it shipped from Amazon and that's easier for you, go for it. I encourage it. Freedom 2.0 is great. Don't support woke companies. Support Freedom 2.0, which also in kind supports people like me. So thank you so much. But I got another segment coming up, and I do want to once again thank you, Andrea, for that. Play the buffoons. I will. End of the show, we're going to cover the Marjorie Taylor Greene incident with the Democrat congresswoman that was acting quite hysterically. We'll cover all that. But I want to cover this story because today is what is known as Pentecost. Pentecost is, of course, a holiday. Primarily, it's a Christian faith holiday, but is heavily celebrated within the Catholic faith as it's the birthday of the Catholic faith. It's a day in which the Holy Spirit came down and kind of began the entire idea 50 days after Jesus's resurrection of Easter. It's the day in which the faith basically is said to have started. Some claim it's symbolic. Of course, this was 2,000 years ago that we're trying to piece together. This is exactly why people say Christmas is in some way a symbolic day of Jesus's birth, and not actually calendar specific. But it's an important day within the Catholic faith. And in the last week, the Catholic faith, for a long time, the Catholic faith has been under scrutiny. Look, I'm a Catholic myself. I'm not going to deny it. You guys might see oftentimes that I have a cross on my neck. I've gone through struggles of faith. I've gone through my own personal stuff in why I believe what I believe. And many people have problems with Catholicism, and I'd love to discuss those. I will actually sometime soon. I will be bringing on, I believe, an atheist. I believe he's an atheist, to have kind of a debate about faith, Christianity, and faith in government. So stay tuned for that. I will be having that sometime soon. But I digress. I'm a Catholic. I don't shy away from it. And for anybody out there that might be watching, even if you're a Christian, even if you're like, I know Christians that bash on Catholics and all this stuff. I want to let you know something. Because oftentimes people that are even Baptist Christian, they're agnostic, people of other religions, people that believe in God, and atheists will criticize the corruption that has been found in the Catholic faith, hiding of sexual immorality, sexual crimes, the hiding of money and the embezzlement of money and just corruption that has been found in the Catholic faith. It's true. It exists. I'm not going to deny it. But in my opinion, to rebut that briefly, there is nothing more, well, there might be some, but there's very little more emblematic and more proving of God's existence than to have an institution that has had so much worldly and man-made corruption to withstand the test of corruption, withstand the test of time, and to withstand the test of society that will constantly hate it, not only for its corruption, but also for just simply the beliefs of the Christian faith in general. That in and of itself is kind of God-given. To be able to get through all of that. And it reminds me, and I'm going to go off on a bit of a tangent here because I want to get to this Harrison Butker speech, but I just think it's important to discuss these ideas of Catholicism and Christianity in general, because Christianity is no doubt under attack. It has been. We know this. People that try to claim that you shouldn't allow faith in government, that Christianity is inherently bigoted or anything under the sun when it comes to that. It reminds me of a Bible verse. I posted this to Facebook not long ago, and I will share my screen with it right here. I don't think we could just share this on my screen. I posted this to Facebook about a week ago, or maybe 2 weeks ago now, of a Bible verse that I think is really important. It's 2 Timothy 3:12 through 17. In fact, everyone who wants to live a godly life in Christ Jesus will be persecuted, while evildoers and imposters will go from bad to worse, deceiving and being deceived. But as for you, continue in what you have learned and have become convinced of, because you know those from whom you've learned it, and how from infancy you have known the holy scriptures, which are able to make you wise for salvation through faith in Christ Jesus. All scripture is God-breathed and is useful for teaching, rebuking, correcting, and training in righteousness, so that the servant of God may be thoroughly equipped for every good work. For every good work. Look, I'm going to relate this to this Harrison Butker speech because I think it's important, and that's what my plan was, is everyone, if you read the very beginning of what I just said, in 2 Timothy 3:12, everyone who wants to live a godly life in Christ Jesus will be persecuted. It is a part of what we expect on this world. Whether you're a Catholic who has to go through attacks from other Christians, or you're a regular Christian that just lives a daily life knowing that marriage is between a man and a woman, and that man and woman have their respective places in society, neither one more or less than the other. You're going to go through some level of persecution. Now, that's not to say you're a victim. It's to say that it's to be expected. And it's necessary. Because for there to be good, there will be evil that will fight against you. And now I'm getting ahead of myself a little bit because I haven't even watched all of this speech yet of Harrison Butker, the kicker from the Kansas City Chiefs, who I haven't watched it. I've only seen a clip or two. But Kansas City doxed this man on its official city-run X account on Wednesday. The NFL has denounced him, and even some of the nuns at Benedictine denounced him. And despite all of this, the NFL is still making money off of him. As of Friday of last week, demands for women's jerseys with his names on it has been so strong that the NFL store has reportedly sold out. Quote, the jersey shot up to the best-selling rankings at the NFL store Thursday, and as of a publication Friday, all of the women's jerseys are out of stock, according to Outkick. Even attempting to build a custom women's jersey from a blank one with Butker's name and number only gives a small as an option. The same is true for all custom female jerseys, which would indicate blank jerseys aren't well kept in stock. But what exactly did he say that was so bad? What did he say that was so denounceable, so triggering? I could find a specific clip, but I think it's worth listening to the entire speech. And we'll pause along the way. But I want to get a full understanding of exactly what Mr. Butker said that was so evil and appalling. To have so many people denouncing, doxing, and hating this man. This is a Catholic man who gave a Catholic speech at a Catholic university about Catholic ideas. And apparently, a lot of people are surprised. So let's take a look and listen to what Harrison Butker had to say at Benedictine University for their graduation. Right here.
Gentlemen of the class of 2024, I would like to start off by congratulating all of you for successfully making it to this achievement today. I'm sure your high school graduation was not what you had imagined, and most likely neither was your first couple years of college. By making it to this moment through all the adversity thrown your way from COVID, I hope you learned the important lessons that suffering in this life is only temporary. As a group, you witnessed firsthand how bad leaders who don't stay in their lane can have a negative impact on society. It is through this lens that I want to take stock of how we got to where we are and where we want to go as citizens and, yes, as Catholics. One last thing before I begin. I want to be sure to thank President Minnis and the board for their invitation to speak. When President Minnis first reached out a couple of months ago, I had originally said no. You see, last year I gave the commencement address at my alma mater, Georgia Tech, and I felt that one graduation speech was more than enough, especially for someone who isn't a professional speaker. But of course, President Minist used his gift of persuasion and spoke to the many challenges you all faced throughout the COVID fiasco and how you missed out on so many milestones the rest of us older people have taken for granted. While COVID might have played a large role throughout your formative years, it is not unique. Bad policies and poor leadership have negatively impacted major life issues. Things like abortion, IVF, surrogacy, euthanasia, as well as a growing support for degenerate cultural values in media, all stem from the pervasiveness of disorder.
I can already see where this is going. Degenerate? To call their ideas degenerate? Oh, you evil, evil man. To point out exactly what it is, you're gonna turn into somebody like me who gets death threats on social media. Yes. Degenerate. And especially coming from the NFL, where acceptance, inclusion, and diversity are the most important things, right? Yep. Okay. All right, let's keep going. This is good so far. I like it.
Our own nation is led by a man who publicly and proudly proclaims his Catholic faith, but at the same time is delusional enough to make the sign of the cross during a pro-abortion rally. He has been so vocal in his support.
So anti-Joe Biden. Good.
Support for the murder of innocent babies that I'm sure to many people, it appears that you can be both Catholic and pro-choice. He is not alone. From the man behind the COVID lockdowns to the people pushing dangerous gender ideologies onto the youth of America, they all have a glaring thing in common. They are Catholic. This is an important reminder that being Catholic alone doesn't cut it. These are the sorts of things we are told in polite society to not bring up. You know, the difficult and unpleasant things. But if we are going to be men and women for this time in history, we need to stop pretending that the Church of Nice is a winning proposition. We must always speak and act in charity, but never mistake charity for cowardice. It is safe to say that over the past few years, I've gained quite the reputation for speaking my mind. I never envisioned myself nor wanted to have this sort of a platform, but God has given it to me, so I have no other choice but to embrace it and preach more hard truths about accepting your lane and staying in it. As members of the church founded by Jesus Christ, it is our duty and ultimately privilege to be authentically and unapologetically Catholic. Don't be mistaken, even within the church, people in polite Catholic circles will try to persuade you to remain silent. There even was an award-winning film called Silence, made by a fellow Catholic, wherein one of the main characters, a Jesuit priest, abandoned the church and as an apostate, when he died, is seen grasping a crucifix, quiet and unknown to anyone but God. As a friend of Benedictine College, His Excellency Bishop Robert Barron said in his review of the film, it was exactly what the cultural elite want to see in Christianity: private, hidden away, and harmless. Our Catholic faith has always been countercultural. Our Lord, along with countless followers, were all put to death for their adherence to her teachings. The world around us says that we should keep our beliefs to ourselves whenever they go against the tyranny of diversity, equity, and inclusion. We fear speaking truth because now, unfortunately, truth is in the minority. Congress just passed a bill where stating something as basic as the biblical teaching of who killed Jesus could land you in jail. But make no mistake, before we even attempt to fix any of the issues plaguing society, we must first get our own house in order, and it starts with our leaders.
We absolutely should. And I don't know exactly where he's going to go with this next, but I think that it's important to recognize that not only will he discuss Joe Biden's cultural Catholicism, and not even cultural Catholicism. I mean, while he might go to mass on occasion, he makes the sign of a cross at a pro-abortion event, which is like, if Catholics are known for anything, it's for being pro-life. And then along with that, he also comes after Republicans in the fact that they had the legislation that was supposed to be about anti-Semitism that made it considered anti-Semitic to recognize that the historical fact that Jews killed Jesus. That's not to blame the Jews of today for the death of Jesus Christ. It's to say that definitively, factually, Jews killed Jesus. Lock me up. Come get me. Mitt Romney, Come get me. Lock me up. Put the cuffs on my wrists. I will be gulag inmate number 1 for saying the historically accurate truth. But I'm sure that they'd go after Harrison Butker before me because he's more culturally relevant. But let's keep going.
The bishops and priests appointed by God as our spiritual fathers must be rightly ordered. There's not enough time today for me to list all the stories of priests and bishops misleading their flocks, but none of us can blame ignorance anymore and just blindly proclaim that that's what Father said. Because sadly, many priests we are looking to for leadership are the same ones who prioritize their hobbies or even photos with their dogs and matching outfits for the parish directory. It's easy for us laymen and women to think that in order for us to be holy, that we must be active in our parish and try to fix it. Yes, we absolutely should be involved in supporting our parishes, but we cannot be the source for our parish priests to lean on to help with their problems. Just as we look at the relationship between a father and his son, so too should we look at the relationship between a priest and his people. It would not be appropriate for me to always be looking to my son for help when it is my job as his father to lead him. St. Jose Maria Escriva states that priests are ordained to serve and should not yield to temptation to imitate lay people, but to be priests through and through. Tragically, so many priests revolve much of their happiness from the adulation they receive from their parishioners, and in searching for this, they let their guard down and become overly familiar. This undue familiarity will prove to be problematic every time, because as my teammate's girlfriend says, familiarity breeds contempt. St. Jose Maria continues that some want to see the priest as just another man. That is not so. They want to find in the priest those virtues proper to every Christian and indeed every honorable man: understanding, justice, a life of work, priestly work in this instance, and good manners. It is not prudent as the laity for us to consume ourselves in becoming amateur theologians so that we can decipher this or that theological teaching, unless, of course, you are a theology major. We must be intentional with our focus on our state in life and our own vocation. And for most of us, that's as married men and women. Still, we have so many great resources at our fingertips that it doesn't take long to find traditional and timeless teachings that haven't been ambiguously reworded for our times. Plus, there are still many good and holy priests, and it's up to us to seek them out. The chaos of the world is unfortunately reflected in the chaos in our parishes, and sadly, in our cathedrals too. As we saw during the pandemic, too many bishops were not leaders at all. They were motivated by fear of being sued, fear of being removed, fear of being disliked. They showed by their actions, intentional or unintentional, that the sacraments don't actually matter. Because of this, countless people died alone without access to the sacraments, and it's a tragedy we must never forget. As Catholics, we can look to so many examples of heroic shepherds who gave their lives for their people, and ultimately, the church. We cannot buy into the lie that the things we experienced during COVID were appropriate. Over the centuries, there have been great wars, great famines, and yes, even great diseases, all that came with a level of lethality and danger. But in each of those examples, church leaders leaned into their vocations and ensured that their people received the sacraments. Great saints like St. Damien of Malachi, who knew the dangers of his ministry, stayed for 11 years as a spiritual leader to the leper colonies of Hawaii. His heroism is looked at today as something set apart and unique, when ideally, it should not be unique at all. For as a father loves his child, so a shepherd should love his spiritual children too. That goes even more so for our bishops, these men who are present-day apostles. Our bishops once had adoring crowds of people kissing their rings and taking in their every word, but now relegate themselves to a position of inconsequential existence. Now, when a bishop of a diocese or the bishops' conference as a whole puts out an important document on this matter or that, nobody even takes a moment to read it, let alone follow it. No. Today, our shepherds are far more concerned with keeping the doors open to the chancery than they are with saying the difficult stuff out loud. It seems that the only time you hear from your bishops is when it's time for the annual appeal, whereas we need our bishops to be vocal about the teachings of the church, setting aside their own personal comfort and embracing their cross. Our bishops are not politicians, but shepherds, So instead of fitting in the world by going along to get along, they too need to stay in their lane and lead.
So here's the thing that I'm noticing too is so for anybody who's not in the Catholic Church, and look, I'll be honest with you, I have not been a perfect Catholic. When it comes to my confessions, it's between me and my priests, but I've not been a perfect Catholic, but I was born and raised in the Catholic Church, so I know a thing or two. And so the reason why this is getting so much flack is not only because he attacks Joe Biden, because he comes after some Republicans about the Jew stuff. Maybe it's not even because of anything else he might say. It's also because he goes after certain Catholic leaders. He calls out bishops in this. Saying, hey, and other Catholic leaders saying, hey, you should have been better during COVID. Hey, you're not doing a good job leading your flock. Hey, you're in this for the corruption that I spoke about at the beginning of this. You need to be better. What he's saying during this graduation speech, at least so far when we're about halfway through it, is be better to everyone. And no one likes to hear that they aren't doing enough. No one likes to hear that maybe the path you're going down isn't right. No one likes to hear that. So why is he getting so much flack? In some way, it's because of what I read at the beginning in 2 Timothy. Because every Christian, everybody who believes in Christ Jesus will receive some level of flack, will receive some level of disdain. And it's not just for whatever he might say in the future. It's also because he's going after everybody in this. And it's amazing. I mean, it really is. Let's keep listening.
I say all of this not from a place of anger, as we get the leaders we deserve. But this does make me reflect on staying in my lane and focusing on my own vocation and how I can be a better father and husband and live in the world, but not be of it. Focusing on my vocation while praying and fasting for these men will do more for the church than me complaining about her leaders. Because there seems to be so much confusion coming from our leaders, there needs to be concrete examples for people to look to, and places like Benedictine, a little Kansas college built high on a bluff above the Missouri River, are showing the world how an ordered, Christ-centered existence is the recipe for success. You need to look no further than the examples all around this campus, where over the past 20 years, enrollment has doubled, construction and revitalization are a constant part of life, and people, the students, the faculty and staff, are thriving. This didn't happen by chance. In a deliberate movement to embrace traditional Catholic values, Benedictine has gone from just another liberal arts school with nothing to set it apart to a thriving beacon of light and a reminder to us all that when you embrace tradition, success, worldly and spiritual, will follow. I am certain the reporters at the AP could not have imagined that their attempt to rebuke and embarrass places and people like those here at Benedictine wouldn't be met with anger, but instead met with excitement and pride. Not the deadly sin sort of pride that has an entire month dedicated to it, but the—
Oh, here's what we're about to get to. The pride, the gays, the Legibeticas, the alphabet mafia. This is probably what really got people in a tizzy.
True God-centered pride that is cooperating with the Holy Ghost to glorify him. Reading that article now shared all over the world, we see that in the complete surrender of self and a turning towards Christ, you will find happiness. Right here in a little town in Kansas, we find many inspiring lay people using their talents. President Minnis, Dr. Swafford, and Dr. Zimmerer are a few great examples right here on this very campus that will keep the light of Christ burning bright for generations to come. Being locked in with your vocation and staying in your lane is going to be the surest way for you to find true happiness and peace in this life. It is essential that we focus on our own state in life, whether that be as a layperson, a priest, or religious. Ladies and gentlemen of the class of 2024, you are sitting at the edge of the rest of your lives. Each of you has the potential to leave a legacy that transcends yourselves and this era of human existence. In the small ways, by living out your vocation, you will ensure that God's church continues and the world is enlightened by your example. For the ladies present today, congratulations on an amazing accomplishment. You should be proud of all that you have achieved to this point in your young lives. I want to speak directly to you briefly because I think it is you, the women, who have had the most diabolical lies told to you.
And so this is starting now. To you, the women have been told the most diabolical lies. This is the clip that I've seen circulating in terms of what has received the most hate, the most anger, and the most flack. So let's take a look and a listen.
How many of you are sitting here now about to cross this stage and are thinking about all the promotions and titles you are going to get in your career? Some of you may go on to lead successful careers in the world, but I would venture to guess that the majority of you are most excited about your marriage and the children you will bring into this world. I can tell you that my beautiful wife, Isabel, would be the first.
It's interesting. So I know I'm probably pausing when you're at the edge of your seat right now, but if you listen, we'll even go back just a few seconds, just a little bit, as he's talking about this, as he's saying that women are probably, some are excited about having families and being mothers. And he's saying that there's a baby crying in the background. I think it's important to listen to that. Listen.
Some of you may go on to lead successful careers in the world, but I would venture to guess that the majority of you are most excited about your marriage and the children you will bring into this world. I can tell you.
As he says that, the children you will bring into this world, that's when the baby starts crying. If that is not God in and of himself speaking, I do not know what is.
That my beautiful wife, Isabel, would be the first to say that her life truly started when she began living her vocation as a wife and as a mother. I'm on this stage today and able to be the man I am because I have a wife who leans into her vocation. I'm beyond blessed with the many talents God has given me, but it cannot be overstated that all of my success is made possible because a girl I met in band class back in middle school would convert to the faith, become my wife, and embrace one of the most important titles of all, homemaker.
And they cheer, and I'm getting chills. Like, I'm not even kidding you right now. As I listen to this, I'm getting chills because this man is up here with such love in his heart, clearly getting choked up about his wife, and recognizing the fact that women have a innate God-given talent to be a homemaker. And that word gets such bogged down by the stereotype of it, and this idea that homemaker in and of itself must be something to be looked down upon because it's not, and it doesn't have its salary. You're not making 6 figures a year, 7 figures, whatever, being a homemaker. No. People look down upon it. However, this man is getting choked up because he realizes the sacrifice that it is, and that she does it in a way that he could never. And there's an absolute beauty to that because he recognizes also that there's sacrifices that come with her doing that over what she might want to do. And that's what she chose to do. And he even recognizes in there, hey, there's some of you that might be really excited for all the talents and all the things you might achieve, all the titles you might have. But hey, there's some of you out there that are really excited to be a mom, to be a homemaker. And that's beautiful too. And he gets choked up. Isn't that like anybody who hates on that, who hates on the idea that he gets choked up for the thankfulness for his wife? That's not somebody I would want to be associated with. I want to be associated with the people that have so much love in their heart and appreciation for the person that they married. That's the person I want to be associated with. That's the person I respect. I respect the heck out of that. And obviously, a lot of the crowd does as well. And we have some people, I have some people that we're going to talk about that don't have respect for that. We're going to talk about that after this, but I want to make sure we get through this speech. Keep listening.
She's a primary educator to our children. She's the one who ensures I never let football or my business become a distraction from that of a husband and father. She's the person that knows me best at my core, and it is through our marriage that, Lord willing, we will both attain salvation. I say all of this to you because I have seen it firsthand, how much happier someone can be when they disregard the outside noise and move closer and closer to God's will in their life. Isabel's dream of having a career might not have come true, but if you asked her today if she has any regrets on her decision, she would laugh out loud without hesitation and say, heck no. As a man who gets a lot of praise and has been given a platform to speak to audiences like this one today, I pray that I always use my voice for God and not for myself. Everything I am saying to you is not from a place of wisdom, but rather a place of experience. I am hopeful that these words will be seen as those from a man not much older than you, who feels it is imperative that this class, this generation, and this time in our society must stop pretending that the things we see around us are normal. Heterodox ideas abound even within Catholic circles. For let's be honest, there is nothing good about playing God with having children, whether that be your ideal number or the perfect time to conceive. No matter how you spin it, there is nothing natural about Catholic birth control. It is only in the past few years that I have grown encouraged to speak more boldly and directly, because as I mentioned earlier, I have leaned into my vocation as a husband and father, and as a man. To the gentleman here today, part of what plagues our society is this lie that has been told to you that men are not necessary in the home or in our communities.
See, here's the thing is, so everything that I've seen, and look, correct me if I'm wrong in the comments, but everything that I've seen that people take issue with when it comes to Harrison Butker's, honestly, I call it a testimony. Like this testimony that he's giving as a college graduation speech, everything that I've seen is, oh, this evil man talking about women and saying that they are, that they should be homemakers. That's what I see. But he's talking to men now. And he's talking to them about the lies that they've been told by this society, that they're problematic and what they should be doing better. How is it that the media, why is it that the media will focus so much on his criticism of society's message to women, but they won't talk about his criticism of society's message to men? Let's keep listening to what it is.
As men, we set the tone of the culture, and when that is absent, disorder, dysfunction, and chaos set in. This absence of men in the home is what plays a large role in the violence we see all around the nation. Other countries do not have nearly the same absentee father rates as we find here in the US, and a correlation could be made in their drastically lower violence rates as well. Be unapologetic in your masculinity, fighting against the cultural emasculation of men. Do hard things. Never settle for what is easy. You might have a talent that you don't necessarily enjoy, but if it glorifies God, maybe you should lean into that over something that you might think suits you better. I speak from experience as an introvert who now finds myself as an amateur public speaker and an entrepreneur, something I never thought I'd be when I received my industrial engineering degree. The road ahead is bright. Things are changing, society is shifting, and people young and old are embracing tradition. Not only has it been my vocation that has helped me and those closest to me, but not surprising to many of you, should be my outspoken embrace of the traditional Latin Mass. I've been very vocal in my love and devotion to the TLM and its necessity for our lives. But what I think gets misunderstood is that people who attend the TLM do so out of pride or preference. I can speak to my own experience, but for most people I have come across within these communities, this simply is not true. I do not attend the TLM because I think I am better than others, or for the smells and bells, or even for the love of Latin. I attend the TLM because I believe, just as the God of the Old Testament was pretty particular in how he wanted to be worshiped, the same holds true for us today. It is through the TLM that I encountered order and began to pursue it in my own life. Aside from the TLM itself, Too many of our sacred traditions have been relegated to things of the past, when in my parish, things such as Ember Days, days when we fast and pray for vocations and for our priests, are still adhered to.
See, now he's talking about the traditional Latin Mass. No one will talk about that. No one will talk about how the fact that he's devoted very much so to his faith. And he's even talking about, he's saying, it's not because I think I'm better than anybody. It's not because, it's just because it's what I believe is best for me in my faith. And that's what I've noticed about all of this. None of it is saying, hey, women, shame on you for not going and being mothers and homemakers. He's just saying many of you might be excited for that, but there's nothing wrong with being excited to be a homemaker. And my wife did that, and I'm so thankful for her for that. Men, don't be ashamed of your masculinity. Be confident in it. Catholics, don't be ashamed of your Christianity. Don't be silent about it. Be confident in it. You want to know why people are hating on this speech? Is because he's telling you to be confident in who you are. And be confident in what you're meant to be. And if there's anything that the left wants, it wants you to question. It wants you to question who you are. It wants you to question your faith. It wants you to question your masculinity. It wants you to question your gender. It wants you to question if you should keep that baby. It wants you to question your sexuality. It wants you to question. It wants you to question. And look, as a critical thinker, there's nothing wrong with reasonable level of question. But if you're doing it constantly and you lack any level of confidence, you're going to live in misery. And so what Harrison Butker is saying so far, there's still 3 minutes for me to hate him. Maybe in this last 3 minutes is what I'm supposed to hate about this speech. But so far, there's nothing wrong in what he has to say. So far. Let's keep listening.
The TLM is so essential that I would challenge each of you to pick a place to move where it is readily available. A lot of people have complaints about the parish or the community, but we should not sacrifice the Mass for community. I prioritize the TLM even if the parish isn't beautiful, the priest isn't great, or the community isn't amazing. I still go to the TLM because I believe the holy sacrifice of the Mass is more important than anything else. I say this knowing full well that when each of you rekindle your knowledge and adherence to many of the church's greatest traditions, you will see how much more colorful and alive your life can and should be. As you move on from this place and enter into the world, know that you will face many challenges. Sadly, I'm sure many of you know of the countless stories of good and active members of this community who, after graduation and moving away from the Benedictine bubble, have ended up moving in with their boyfriend or girlfriend prior to marriage. Some even leave the church and abandon God. It is always heartbreaking to hear these stories, and there's a desire to know what happened and what went wrong. What you must remember is that life is about doing the small things well, setting yourself up for success, and surrounding yourself with people who continually push you to be the best version of you. I say this all the time, that iron sharpens iron. It's a great reminder that those closest to us should be making us better. If you are dating someone who doesn't even share your faith, how do you expect that person to help you become a saint? If your friend group is filled with people who only think about what you're doing next weekend and are not willing to have those difficult conversations, how can they help sharpen you? As you prepare to enter into the workforce, it is extremely important that you actually think about the places you are moving to. Who is the bishop? What kind of parishes are there? Do they offer the TLM and have priests who embrace their priestly vocation? Cost of living must not be the only arbiter of your choices. For a life without God is not a life at all, and the cost of salvation is worth more than any career. I'm excited for the future, and I pray that something I have said will resonate as you move on to the next chapter of your life. Never be afraid to profess the one holy, Catholic, and apostolic church, for this is the church that Jesus Christ established, through which we receive sanctifying grace. I know that my message today had a little less fluff than is expected for these speeches, But I believe that this audience and this venue is the best place to speak openly and honestly about who we are and where we all want to go, which is heaven. I thank God for Benedictine College and for the example it provides to the world. I thank God for men like President Minnis who are doing their part for the kingdom. Come to find out, you can have an authentically Catholic college and a thriving football program. Make no mistake, you are entering into mission territory in a post-God world, but you were made for this, and with God by your side and a constant striving for virtue within your vocation, you too can be a saint. Christ is King to the heights.
Christ is King to the heights. Man, I'm going to bring it back to there just so that we can talk about this a little bit. If I freeze, sometimes during this this later part of the show. We're going to go probably about 2 hours tonight, and I hope everybody stays with me because I have a lot more to cover still. But when we get to this point of the speech, I mean, he even recognized that he knows this will not be a popular speech, and it's gone on to not be. Well, it's popular among people like me, among a lot of the people that are probably watching right now. It's popular among us because we watch this and we resonate with what he says, with that there's a beauty to the religion. Because there's a beauty in recognizing that people choose their own paths, and taking one that is of a more traditional viewpoint is not necessarily a bad thing. And there's a lot of, I don't know, sorry to be redundant, but beauty to that. And so I watch this and I wonder, when everybody's getting so mad, why? Why? And a good critical thinker will ask that question, why? Well, there's been a specific individual that's gone particularly viral, who's a cheerleader for the NFL, who is blasting Harrison Butker about all of this. And like I said, she's gone viral, and she's got about a 3-minute video. We're going to watch some of it. We're going to react to this. We're going to talk about this. It's gone viral on TikTok, on Twitter, everything. And maybe we'll be able to understand why this would be such a problem. Take a look and listen to this.
Laser and my finest jewelry in case any of the national news wants to use this and air it without my consent. My video dressing my favorite former coworker, Harrison Butker, has popped off. And I'm about it, because now I am a voice for the people that he attacked. And since the mainstream media is going to use whatever content they want, I thought I might as well dress up and give them a formal speech. It has never been about whether or not a woman should stay home with her family. If that is the best decision for her, do you.
That's basically what he said during the speech. It's almost exactly what he said. But now this insufferable woman with the voice of a dying cat seems to think something different.
If you want to have a career, do you.
Once again, almost exactly what he said during the speech. But once again, this insufferable. This is why the cheerleaders don't talk at NFL games, everybody.
If you want to do both, pop off. Do you. My issue lies when entitled men in positions of privilege, such as Harrison Butker, uses a graduation speech to put a woman in her place.
At what point did he put a woman in her place? Wait, I'm live right now. Everybody, let me know in the comments what you guys think about this. But I'm going to find the exact clip of where he talks about this, because I can't believe when she says he put a woman in her place. What is she talking about? Nowhere in that speech did he say women belong in the kitchen. Women need this place. No. What he said is, let me see if I can find it. I'm trying to find the exact point. Here we go. Take a look and listen to this. This is what he said.
How many of you are sitting here now about to cross this stage and are thinking about all the promotions and titles you are going to get in your career? Some of you may go on to lead successful careers in the world, but I would venture to guess that the majority of you are most excited about your marriage and the children you will bring into this world. I can tell you that my beautiful wife, Isabel, would be the first to say that her life truly started when she began living her vocation as a wife and as a mother. I'm on this stage today and able to be the man I am because I have a wife who leans into her vocation. I'm beyond blessed with the many talents God has given me, but it cannot be overstated that all of my success is made possible because a girl I met in band class back in middle school would convert to the faith, become my wife, and embrace one of the most important titles of all, homemaker.
So that's putting a woman in her place. Being appreciative of your wife, according to this woman. Being appreciative of your wife and recognizing her as a homemaker and a good one. And being supportive and loving and a mother. That's what is putting a woman in her place. I got to scratch my head at the absolute idiocy of that entire thought. But let's let her finish it.
Instead of congratulating her on her accomplishments. Are you shocked at some of his public supporters? I was not, because something these people all have in common.
These people sounds racist to me, but okay.
Privilege. The harsh reality is that majority of Americans cannot support their family on a single income. Those little bundles of joys are expensive.
Her voice is one of the most insufferable things in the world.
So telling a bunch of women that that's when their life begins? Well, I guess it depends if they're privileged or not. Baffles me that people think that social media has like warped this speech into something it's not. If you think that, you should go watch the 20-minute long speech.
We just did.
And I promise you're going to be sweeping your jaw off the floor by the end.
I am, but not for the reason you think of, because it was absolutely beautiful.
Why are none of his supporters talking about the part of the speech where he condemns a woman's right to her access to health care?
I condemn the part of... I condemn everything about killing babies.
Such as abortion, IVF, surrogacy, and birth control, or the part where he called gay people deadly sinners.
Well, if you read Leviticus, you'll read about if a man lays with a man as he does a woman. It's not all hunky-dory.
And mocked their Pride Month.
Yeah, I'll mock their Pride Month. Honestly, follow this channel if you want to mock Pride Month. We're going to do it a lot.
That's low. Other thing we have in common, Harrison, is we are both Catholics.
You, woman, are not a Catholic. You're a cultural Catholic, maybe. Like Joe Biden is a Catholic. But you're not a Catholic if you support abortion. If you think that being gay isn't a sin. Like, at a minimum, that.
And I want everyone to know that our God preaches love and not hate.
Our God preaches love and justice. God is all loving and all just. Everybody always forgets that. People always think God is all loving. God is just love. God is just love. God does love. But he's also just. He's a just God. Remember that. God is all loving and all just. There are two parts. No one ever remembers that.
Many people are asking if there's going to be any consequences for Harrison Butker. And I can tell you now, the answer is no.
Why would anybody, okay, I know I'm pausing this so much, but why would anybody be asking if there's consequences for Harrison Butker? Are there consequences for the protesters on college campuses that are saying death to all Jews? No. Are there consequences for the people saying death to America? No. Are there consequences to people that utilize their free speech to adequately say their opinion? No. No. Of course there's not. Are there going to be any consequences? No. If there were, there'd be bigger outrage, and there should be.
Because he is a Super Bowl winning kicker.
No. Oh my God. No, it's not because he's a Super Bowl winning kicker. It's because he has every right to say everything he said, you mind-numbingly stupid football cheerleader.
He is a privileged male athlete. And like many other privileged male athletes, he is untouchable. Female athletes do not have that luxury. We cannot speak out about controversy.
You absolutely can. No one will watch just as much as they won't watch you when you're a female athlete. You want to know why? Because your sports don't get the viewership, honey.
Topics without risking our reputation and our career. Well, there you have it. Can't wait to see if my jersey sales increase.
This is probably one of the dumbest people I have ever seen. And oh my God, I feel dumber just for watching this girl. I feel so much dumber just for watching her. My God. Let's see what some of the comments say, because this has just been a lot. Harrison Butker, love the guy. I think that was an amazing, amazing speech that he just gave. I'm so happy I was able to react to it with each and every one of you. Let's see what some of you guys say. She's a cry blanket is different. True. Mine is my favorite color, royal purple. It's a soft blanket. Sounds nice. It is. I lost my friend Eric. Oh, I'm sorry about losing your friend Eric, Andrea, who's one of the people who gave me the blanket and the cookies a few years ago. I love it for so many reasons. Do not worry, Andrea. We will be getting to the video of the cat fight in Congress soon. But thank you guys for watching. I loved reacting to that that speech. There was a lot of beauty to it. I really don't know what else to say. I'm kind of speechless. It's almost like that's the name of the show. So it's almost like that's the name of the show. Speechless with Kev Ferris. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. We got more to cover here. We're going to talk about the cat fight in Congress. We're going to also react to some TikToks, and that's what we're going to do next. And while I get all of that pulled up, because we just reacted to that amazing video of Harrison Butker and his speech, we're going to react to some TikToks. I got a lot coming up here. And then we're also going to talk about this speech that Andrea, or not just speech, this kind of cat fight that happened in Congress between Marjorie Taylor Greene and this other woman. We're going to talk about that soon here on Speechless, but let's give a shout out to our sponsors real quick. Freedom 2.0. Okay, so we're back, and I still have not opened all of these clips because I have a lot of TikToks to react to today, and then I also got to make sure that we get to the cat fight in Congress. Everybody, I am Kev Ferris, 23-year-old conservative activist. No matter where you're watching from right now, please consider posting a comment. Just let me know what you think. What do you think about any of this? The speech was fantastic, according to Andrea. Thank you, Andrea. I appreciate that. You are one of a kind, one of my best and loyal viewers, followers, all that stuff. Everybody, make sure you are following. Don't forget to like, subscribe, share, and comment, all that fun stuff. We got a lot of different content to react to here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 different videos open right now. And then even after that, because Andrea, who is just so amazing, wanted to talk about the buffoons, we will be reacting and talking about the women in Congress who got into quite the cat fight. Quite the cat fight. It is. I gotta be honest, I like Marjorie Taylor Greene, but she got into quite the little tiff with that other congresswoman, the Democrat who seems to be ratchet and then normal, like it's nothing. Like it's nothing. She just switches back like it's no issue. That was my terrible Trump impersonation, everybody there. But let's see. Jim is also in the comment section. Thank you, Jim. Sorry, I just took a little sip there. But let's get to, we have a lot of TikToks to react to today, everybody. Some of which were sent in by viewers. If you ever want to send in anything for me to react to, do not forget, you can send me an email at speechlesskp@gmail.com. And, or you can also Venmo or Cash App at any of these. And that's how I'll know, hey, this is something I really got to react to. No matter what the amount is, if you want me to react to anything, create a video of it, include it in a live stream, anything, do not forget to support the show in whatever way possible. So let's get to some of these reactions here. We're going to go through them quick. We got some TikTok reactions here today on Speechless. So let's start with this first one here from Libs of TikTok. Take a look and a listen. What is going to be said here?
So this might be confusing for some people. So like I use he, him pronouns, right? But I don't identify as a man. But I'm trans non-binary. And I feel dysphoric about my body sometimes, like my curves and my butt. But at the same time, I like my boobs. Like, that's fine.
It doesn't make any sense at all. She, her. I'm calling it now. I don't care if it's misgendering. That's a she, her. That's a she, her. Everybody, we got this other one. This was sent in to me by a viewer. Let's take a look and a listen at this vegan who makes some claims here.
Reason number one why vegans are better than God. If vegans had designed the planet, we never would have designed it in such a way that any animals would hurt others. It would have been designed so that all animals would be herbivores. Everybody would just eat plants. And I know what you're thinking, the world would overpopulate. So how that would be settled is that all animals would die in their sleep painlessly. For example, you and I would die at about 100 years old without ever having a heart attack, a stroke, or any kind of cancer, or being mauled to death. And all animals would die at the appropriate time in order to avoid overpopulation, and everything would be stable and equalized. We could all still enjoy the planet. We could all do stuff like whatever you guys want to do, bungee jumping, walking through the mountains, lying in the sun, enjoying the rain and the sun and everything, you know, but without suffering. That's what vegans would have done if we could design the planet. So that's just another reason why vegans are better than God.
So vegans are better than God. This person obviously doesn't understand the Bible whatsoever, or what Christians. So I'm not going to come here and say, I think so. First, number one, I think everybody should believe in Christianity. I think if you saw the way I did and saw the world the way that many other people do, you would believe in Christianity. But if you're going to believe like this woman, don't. Because this is absolutely idiotic. Vegans are better than God because they would have designed the world differently. God did design the world in a very similar way to what she explained. It's called the Garden of Eden. And then Eve ate the apple, and then we got banished to what is now known as Earth. And I'm oversimplifying it, I'll admit. But this is just absolutely idiotic. Vegans are better than God because they would make it so there was no suffering. Suffering is in honesty, suffering is a part of your time on this planet, on this plane of existence. That's part of it. So that you can learn. If there was no suffering, there would never be any learning. This is, oh my God. Stupid people like this is what keep me up at night. Let's get to this next one. This is a 3rd grade teacher out of the Libs of TikTok account. Take a look and a listen to this one.
My name's Teacher Green, and something I like about my classroom is that my students built the trans flag last year. We had the pleasure of reading a book called Melissa about a transgender 4th grade girl, and it was very impactful for all of us. Afterwards, we built the trans flag using the shapes of our hands, blue, pink, and white paint, and of course, glue. My name's Teacher Green, and something I like about my classroom is that my students built the trans flag.
One more time.
Impactful for all of us. Afterwards, we built the trans flag using the shapes of our hands, blue, pink, and white paint, and of course, glue.
So this is the reason, everybody, that your kids can't read, write, do math, any of that. It's because they're focusing on crap like this. Well, maybe there will be some level of redemption coming soon. I don't know, but let's take a look at this. Oh, this does not look in any way inspiring. Let's look at this.
Hello, I'm Blue Trans Education, and I'm here to talk about why T for T is acceptable, but a cis person wanting to date specifically trans people isn't.
Okay, wait. That was too much for me off the bat. Let's try one more time.
Hello, I'm Blue Trans Education, and I'm here to talk about why T for T is acceptable, but a cis person wanting
T for T. So I'm sorry if this voice is annoying for any of you. It's just as annoying for me. T for T. So trans for trans. So a trans person dating a trans person is okay, but a cis person wanting to date
specifically trans people isn't.
So that's so if you're a normal person wanting to date a delusional person, it's not okay. I'd agree with that. But I don't think I'll agree with the reasoning with this I don't know, Naruto looking person.
And honestly, it's a simple answer. The reasoning behind why each group wants to date trans people. Trans people are T for T because they feel it's a matter of safety. They would be safer if they only dated other trans people. And there's an added bonus of always having something in common. However, when cis people specifically want to date trans people, there's no reason other than fetishization. If you have a really good reason as to why you, a cis person, wants to date trans people, that's fine. However, I honestly cannot think of any besides fetishization. No cis person is dating trans people because it's a matter of safety, or because they have something in common with each and every trans person. It's because of fetishization. Hope this helps. Hello!
Okay, so what I'm hearing is that, because I've heard from other leftists, that it's transphobic to not want to date trans people, but it's also some way offensive to want to date trans people. So no matter what, you're a bigot. That's it. Unless you're trans, you're a bigot. That's what we got for that one. Oh my God. All right. Well, let's check out this one. Let's see what this individual has to say.
Feminism is so big now is because women just want to feel like we're valued. At least how we learned about history is that men were like the ones that got to vote and make decisions, and like when women just wanted to feel valued.
Well, think about it. It's interesting too. Where do we learn about this feminist stuff, about being disempowered and all that? Where did it come from? School, which is taught by the government curriculum. Now, one could argue this was all intentionally done, where they push feminism to begin to separate the masculine and feminine. And here's the thing too, is that their goal is to control, once again, as many people as possible. And the way they do that is by controlling the next generation of kids. So if you can figure out a way to, in quotes, empower women to become more masculine, that separates the man and the woman in the nuclear family. And when you do that, the mom is out and she's hustling and bustling, the dad's out and he's hustling and bustling. So fuck, who's taking care of the kids? The government. Now the government indoctrinates the kid. Perfect. So that's why too they destroy the nuclear family intentionally, because a strong family makes strong men too, and strong men make a strong nation. Strong nation isn't easily controlled.
I
agree. Absolutely right. A strong nation isn't easily controlled. That one was right. I found one TikTok so far that's been sent to me. One TikTok that's been sent to me. That is right. One TikTok. Let's check out this one. This one that apparently hates on libs of TikTok. And let's see about this one.
So this Republican account on Twitter put out this saying, a middle school in Georgia, imagine walking into your child's school and seeing this. And I'm looking at this photo and there's absolutely nothing wrong with it. Are you really upset that this school is trying to promote inclusivity and acceptance? And what's crazy about this is that Republicans will be mad over schools promoting acceptance, but they won't be mad over the multiple mass shootings we've had in schools and the fact that schools around the United States are underfunded. But no, they seem to think that promoting acceptance is the real issue here. It's insane.
Okay, so this dude is an absolute idiot for two reasons. First off, when you have, okay, let's look at the actual picture here.
You really, absolutely nothing wrong with it. Are you really upset? School in Georgia, imagine walking.
Okay, so you look at this. You got all this trans flag sexuality. This is a middle school. So you got people that are like 12, 13, 14 that are being exposed to a lot of crap about sexuality. To a lot of stuff about sexuality. And you're not telling me that that's a problem? You're not going to admit that that's a problem? It's not about inclusion. It's not about inclusion at all. It's about the fact that they're talking about sexuality with underage individual. That is grooming. That is grooming, everybody. That is grooming, definitively. Along with that, it's not that Republicans and conservatives don't care about mass shootings. That is an absolute red herring. That's not what this post is about at all. All of them care about. No one wants children to die. And that's why we have different viewpoints as to how to solve that issue. This guy's an idiot. This guy is an absolute idiot. And I might be freezing up, everybody, and I'm sorry if that's the case. I'm going to try to make sure I fix it here soon, because we have more TikToks to react to. We got more videos to talk about, more things to talk about, and we are going to fix it soon. So do not go anywhere. We will be right back with more Speechless. Give me one moment. Stick with me. Don't worry, everybody. I'm back. I'm sorry that my stream cuts out every once in a while. If you want to support the show, make sure you don't forget, if you can, like, subscribe, share, and comment, all that fun stuff. And also, if you have the means, consider maybe supporting the show through Venmo or Cash App. I'd appreciate that. I hope you guys liked that last video. We got other things we are going to talk about here on Speechless. Other things to react to, other things to have discussions about. So make sure you guys are commenting. I always appreciate everything you guys bring up in the comments. Let's get this next TikTok as we get that last stupid beta mail off my screen here. We're going to get this one right here onto my screen. I don't know what the heck this thing is, but let's take a look and a listen right here.
Hey, what are you in here for? Me and my husband were arrested after Republicans criminalized gay relationships nationally. After they won all of the elections in 2024, they put him in a different prison and now I'll never get to see him again. Yeah, after Republicans swept the 2024 election, they threw me in the men's prison because I'm a trans woman. They took away my HRT and I'm also at extremely heightened risk of being SA'd compared to cis male inmates. What about you? I drove my partner to get an abortion because their pregnancy was non-viable and was going to kill him if he carried it to term. When the government found out, they charged us with murder. Can you believe it? Yeah, that's awful. I can't believe the Republicans did exactly what they said they would do. Yeah, I got evicted from my apartment, so I was sleeping in my car, but I got arrested after they criminalized homelessness nationally. And now I'll probably be trapped in the prison cycle forever because it's very difficult for ex-cons to find jobs that pay enough to cover rent. Well, at least we can all rest easy knowing that we all cast our protest votes for Claudia de la Cruz, getting her 4% of the vote, taking away any chance Joe Biden had of winning. I am so glad we sent a message in 2024. Well, at least we can vote for a progressive candidate in 2028. Felons can't vote. Trump also declared himself dictator for life and arrested every member of all Democrat and socialist organizations for treason. 2024 was our last chance to avoid this. Also, who the is Claudia de la Cruz? Hey,
okay, so this person should be not locked up in a prison like he, she, it, they pretends to be. but should be locked up in some level of a mental institution. I absolutely believe that 100%. Let's take a look at the next one. These people, one of a kind. Absolutely. Take a look and listen at this absolute wacko.
For 14 years, I don't know if I could be monogamous anymore. I've honestly never really thought about it until now, but I've been non-monogamous for so long. Would being monogamous mean going back? I don't even see it anymore as one relationship style or another. I don't think one is better than the other. If anything, I feel like I've just had phases of monogamy, non-monogamy, polyamory, swinging, all these different phases over the past 14 years with my now husband. We decided to open up really early on and took 2 years to kind of figure out our own rules for a relationship and what we wanted for us. And we've been married for 10 years and have 2 kids together. I can see us still having phases of monogamy in the future, but it's wild. I feel like my whole headspace shifted to say, like, I am not a monogamous person choosing non-monogamy, but rather I'm just a person going through different phases of relationship styles based on where I'm at in life. And that was just a for me. Anyone else? Just me?
Okay, you're right. You're not monogamous. You are non-monogamous. You're also a whore. Look, kindly get your life together. You got kids. You have legally a husband. Religiously, you don't have a husband. You're not married if you're non-monogamous. And if you're addicted to this non-monogamy, you're not married. You don't really have a husband. And it's really sad. And I kind of feel bad. And I don't know what your husband's lifestyle is. I don't know if he participates as well in this non-monogamy, as you call it. But really, it's cheating. It's disgusting. It's sad. And I feel terrible for your kids who will forever have a distorted view of how a relationship is supposed to be because of your selfishness. That's what I'd say to that one. Let's take a look at this one. This is Libs of TikTok. This is a longer video, but I just thought this person looked so beautiful, which I say ironically. But let's take a look and listen to this.
My name is Amiantla, and I have a PhD in gender studies. I'm here at Georgia State University campus in Atlanta, Georgia, and
I just heard PhD in gender studies, and I was like, oh my God, what a waste of money and time.
I'm here to advocate for LGBTQ rights. I'm going to go around this campus asking male students if they would be willing to donate one of their testicles to benefit trans men and help stop toxic masculinity. Walk with me. Would you donate one of your testicles to benefit trans men? And would you donate one of your testicles to benefit trans men and help fight toxic masculinity?
I'd have to know more about the medical implications of me.
Sounds like a no to me, buddy.
Like having a procedure to get rid of my testicles, but like I'm not against the idea.
Yes, you
entirely.
are.
Would you be willing to donate one of your testicles to benefit trans men and help fight toxic masculinity?
Sure, why not?
And would you be willing to donate one of your testicles to benefit trans men and help them fully transition medically?
Yeah, I mean, I'm a trans woman, so yeah.
Oh, okay. How about you?
Yeah, I suppose, in theory, yeah. I mean, practically, I'm not really sure. That's kind of a big ass to spring on me suddenly, but
Wait, in theory, in the idea of maybe thinking about, like, if I were, I'd agree to thinking about giving away my genitalia. However, in practice, I don't know. And then you got this other person over here that's like, I'm mentally ill, so heck yeah, cut it off.
It's like it's something you would consider. Would you consider that? Like, we're just trying to assess if an average man would be willing to consider that.
Yeah, if I ever felt like I definitely was like, I don't want kids, and somebody explain, like, if I knew that things were going to function properly afterwards, I don't see a problem with that.
Yeah,
really,
because there is a risk entailed too.
Would you be willing to donate one of your testicles to benefit trans men and help fight toxic masculinity?
It's just like right now, would I go?
Would you consider that?
Yeah, I'd consider it.
Okay, so would you be willing to donate one of your testicles to benefit trans men and help fight toxic masculinity?
Yeah, I probably would.
So would you be willing to donate one of your testicles to benefit trans men and help them medically transition and also like help fight toxic masculinity?
Probably not. I don't know. I don't think so.
Yeah, so we're just trying to assess whether or not an average man would be willing to like donate to organ donation.
Why does this look like gay Freddy Krueger with like the stripes and everything? It looks like gay Freddy Krueger.
I don't know if they would. I'm not gonna lie, but I never thought about it. I haven't much thought about it.
So for you personally, you wouldn't consider that?
Oh, maybe if I was like a bit older, I would say maybe I would consider it. Yeah.
What the heck? What the heck is wrong with people? What the heck is wrong with people? This is absolute idiocy. Would you, as a man watching right now, would you consider donating one of your testicles to help trans men? Huh? Let me know. Let me know. Let's check out this one. This is the last one we got for the reaction to TikToks. Take a look and listen to this one about, I don't know. I don't even flip it know yet. Let's look.
If you do not date fat people because you just happen to view fatness as neutral but not be particularly attracted to it, fine. That's a preference. If you don't date fat people because you think being fat means that they are gross, lazy, live an unhealthy lifestyle, or are embarrassing to be seen with in public, that's fatphobic. But to insist your preference is for people who aren't lazy, sloppy, and disgusting and unhealthy, meaning that means you prefer skinny people because all fat people are those other things, that's actually bigoted. That's actually deciding that one group is all the same because of how they look. Hope that makes sense. Have a good day. If you do not date fat...
Okay, so one group is not necessarily all the same because of how they look, but I think people overanalyze this. Just as much as the fat phobia people believe that I overgeneralize them, I think that they overgeneralize people like me. I don't think if somebody's not your type, be honest about it. If somebody's not your type, tell them. Like, just as much as when they say, and I felt it once in my life with the person I'm currently with. You feel a feeling that's like, this is the person I know I'm meant to be with. When you feel that feeling, you know it. When it comes to somebody that you know you're not meant to be with, if you feel it in the minute you meet them, we always talk about love at first sight. Everybody always love to say, they'll always talk about, they'll be like, it's such a romantic feeling. Like, oh my God, there's love at first sight. I knew the moment I started talking to them, the moment I looked at them, that I loved them. Why is it that we can, as a society, can have love at first sight, that we romanticize love at first sight, but we can't understand and recognize the idea that there could be just dislike at first sight? That there could be certain things that just put you off. Every woman wants to talk about the ick. I've talked about it on this show before, the ick. Whether that's being able to ride a bike or pushing a shopping cart. Different things that men do that give women the ick. Why is it that men are not allowed to say, hey, I'd like you not to be overweight? This woman is absolutely crazy. Everybody has a type. Common Sense is saying that in the comments right now. Everyone has a type. Everyone has a type. And look, the type is not always like, oh my God, I need somebody who is this height and this eye color and this weight and blah, blah, blah. No. But everyone has a type in the idea that everyone has something that they're attracted to more than others. And it's not always just physical features, but I will always say that weight is an indicator. Weight is an indicator of lifestyle. Like, and the visible feature of weight is an indicator of lifestyle. But that's all the TikToks I got today, everybody. That's all the TikToks I got today. I did have Andrea. Andrea, let me know in the comments that you're still there, because I need to know that you're still there so I can talk about these things. I'm going to talk about these cat fights that we got going on in Congress. And I got to be honest, I didn't do that much research into it. So we're going to go through and we're going to talk about Marjorie Taylor Greene and her cat fight, MGT, or Marjorie Taylor, MTG. Here we go. We're going to find this cat fight that she's got in Congress. We're going to talk about who she's got, talking about her and all this stuff. We got a lot of stuff. So this is a live show, everybody. And so if you're watching right now, this is the part of the show where it becomes super live. Andrea, are you still there in the comments? I got to know that you're still there because you wanted to talk about the buffoons. You want to talk about their cat fight in Congress. And we're going to find it. And it's between MTG and this other one. There's AOC's involved in this. There's Jasmine Crockett, all this stuff. And we're going to talk about these real quick. So let's go and we're going to pull up. This is one of the videos. We're going to share my screen here so that we can try our best to accurately represent these videos that you want me to react to. Let's take a look and listen to this one right here.
Actual behavior that happens across the aisle in this committee of constant attacks on President Trump are unbelievable. And attacks on President Trump, the weaponized government against President Trump. I want you to know something. He may be sitting in a New York courtroom with a sham trial with a political judge whose daughter works for Democrats. But I'll tell you right now, President Trump is up 10 points in Georgia because the American people see this for exactly what it is. They know what it is. And it's completely wrong.
So I don't disagree with that, but I don't think that's exactly what we were looking for. Let's make sure that we really get to the cat fight in Congress. It's maybe this one. Maybe is it this one?
Unless there's another motion, then you'll be recognized again. But I believe there's another motion coming. So you agree to strike your words?
Yeah.
Okay. Ms. Green agrees to strike her words.
I believe she
Chair
needs to apologize.
recognizes
No.
Mr.
She
Perry.
needs to apologize.
Okay, hold on. Then after Mr. Perry's going to be recognized, then Ms. Green
I'm not
has 4 minutes and
apologizing.
21
Well,
seconds.
then you're not striking your words.
I am.
We got Comer in the middle of this. Please, come on, everybody. Don't be so mad. Don't be so angry. It's making my job harder, Mr. Comer. Here we go.
Not apologizing.
Now let's go. Come on, guys.
Why don't you debate me?
Mr. Chairman, the minority.
Pretty self-evident.
Why don't you debate me is what she says to AOC. I think it's pretty self-evident is what AOC says.
You're not.
Yeah, you're not.
out of order.
You don't have enough
You're out of order.
intelligence.
Chair recognizes Mr. Perry.
You don't have enough intelligence. Ooh! Women going after women. Guess all that feminist crap isn't necessarily hitting it off. I guess they're not very happy that we have all these that we have all these women elected to Congress. I guess that's the issue. They'll always be like, oh my gosh, we have women elected to Congress. We love that women are getting elected to Congress. And then once they're elected to Congress, it's gloves off and there's issues. Another woman that was involved in this whole cat fight was the Democrat Congresswoman Jasmine Crockett. I think Jasmine is her first name. Let me double check. Yeah, Jasmine Crockett. And here is her today on CNN. Let's take a look and a listen to this. Jasmine Crockett on CNN talking about how racist MTG is. Take a look.
You have since called her racist, Congresswoman Green. I want to understand your perspective of this. Do you think her going after your eyelashes, that in itself is racist?
I think her specifically doing it to me, yes, that was the intent. As it's been stated, women wear makeup, we wear lashes, we wear all types of things to beautify ourselves. But MAGA has historically been on social media doing the things where they're saying, oh, she's black with lashes and nails and hair, and so she's ghetto. And so to me, this was her buying into that rhetoric and trying to amplify this for the MAGA crowd. And
I want to hear what else she has to say, but this is one of the stupidest things I have ever heard so far. In the fact that she says it's racist to call out that she has fake eyelashes on. Look, here's the thing. Women of all races wear fake eyelashes. I know this. My girlfriend, who is not technically white, but looks white, wears fake eyelashes sometimes. Is it racist to say that? Even if it's in a derogatory way, is it necessarily racist? No. It's just women going after women. It's not in and of itself racist. What I actually think is more racist is claiming that it's racist. Why? Why do I believe this? Because claiming that because somebody said something, it must be racist is in and of itself spreading a stereotype that people of a certain race talking about something that is not race specific, is racist, is recognizing race in a prejudicious way. So I believe Crockett is more racist than Marjorie Taylor Greene in this instance.
And so, yeah, I absolutely think that she only did it to be racist towards me.
Because it was towards you, or because it was eyelashes? So in that sense, it's kind of like, in your view, buying into a racist trope.
It is buying into a racist trope, but the reality is that women of all colors wear lashes.
Right. No, I know. That's why I was asking.
Yeah.
Is there anything you think should happen here? Do you think that Congresswoman Greene should face any sort of punishment?
I mean, she didn't face any at the time, so I don't anticipate that she'll face any in general. I mean, I think that this speaker should...
Because what she said was not in and of itself racist, you dumb idiot.
Should be inclined to try to rein her in after trying to kick him out of his position. But they just let Marjorie do whatever she wants to do. And I think this was the first time that someone actually said, no, you won't just treat me whatever way you want to and get away with it.
You won't. This is a lot of crap. And look, I haven't been following this story super closely, I'll admit. And I'm very happy. Thank you, Andrea, for asking me to bring this one up, because it was one that I wanted to talk about a little bit. And thank you for the support of the channel, everybody. I appreciate your support of the channel. Don't forget to like, subscribe, share, comment, all that fun stuff. But this is the crap that we see in our Congress, is it's not even about what we're talking about. It's not even about the issues at hand. It's, oh my God, she called out my eyelashes. She must be a racist. Like, this is like some sorority bull crap. Some high school, college drama. Let's actually solve problems. These people don't want to. And MTG, she's not necessarily leading all of it, but in some ways she's not helping. Everybody is a problem in this story. Let's solve our issues instead of focusing on petty bull crap. And we're going to talk about more of that on tomorrow's show of the Breakaway USA show. Don't forget to tune in to my channel, Speechless with Kev, or any of Breakaway USA, Breakaway_USA. You Google that, you'll find us, and you'll be able to see all of it. Check all of that out, and you won't miss a minute of any of the news, any of the breaking news. We'll be here for you. Make sure you like, subscribe, share, comment, all that fun stuff. I really appreciate it. God bless you guys. God bless America. And until next time, we will be speechless.